It's late November and we're in the interior of Newfoundland, far from civilization. Winter's settling in. The objective of this trip is to harvest a caribou, which will be my meat for the long cold months ahead. Joining us on the adventure is an old friend, Jared Rumsey, who'll provide a strong back, keen woodsman skills, and good spirits around the wood stove during the dark evenings. Earlier in the season I seen good sign in this area, so my hopes are that after pitching our base camp we can walk the surrounding bogs and barrens and find what we're looking for.
What do you hit, Rumsey?
This is it, buddy.
Ready for the big journey or what?
All ready to go.
Yeah. What canoe's yours?
Not quite certain yet.
Pick your choice, bud. This one looks like you got your name on it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Perfect fit.
I can see that, yeah.
This one's a bit more forest green, my style. We get a load on though, don't we?
Oh yeah, have a load in later.
So we're here now with loaded canoes and in for at least 5 or 6 days, could be a week. So we got a lot of gear. We're going in for a hunt. Got a couple kilometer paddle here across this lake to get to our campsite. And we're going to try to hopefully get my caribou here and whatever else comes along the way. So we're just clipping across a small bay now. And there's a bit of a north wind blowing, so we're trying to stick a little bit close to land, taking our time. This is a big lake, so we don't want to mess around. How's it going up there, Captain Sack? Hey, everything good ahead? Full steam ahead, he says, full steam ahead. Alright, Zach, we're back to our old camp, bud. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Good boy. Land ahoy. Late November now, winter's setting in. We got a bit of ice in the cove, a bit of slush, really. That's all it is. Here comes Rumsey. How was the paddle, bye?
Not too bad.
You said it was peaceful, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
After making our way across the lake, we now had the laborious task of dragging all the gear about 150 yards into the thick woods behind us, where we had discovered a nice little site. From there, we set up in near darkness and awaited the hunt that would begin in the morning. Close her up, we'll be ready to go now or what? What are you at, boy?
What?
What are you at?
What bullshit?
What, moose came again last night?
We're on top of our trucks.
You think that's the same stuff from last night?
What?
You think that's the same moose shit from last night?
On top of our footprints.
Yeah.
No, man. On top of footprints.
You see any moose tracks?
Never look.
Any caribou shit?
Yeah. Make caribou coffee now, man.
What do you got there, bucket of salt beef?
Bunch of fucking chingling nails for the roof of this place.
Beep. Come on, we get going now. Saku. Good job on the security there, bud.
Oh yeah, keep them out. Keep them out.
Keeping out the monsters. The boogie, man. Boy, what a night we had last night.
Yeah, nice.
We set up in the dark the whole thing, didn't we? Pretty much. We cut the poles, it was daylight. Took a few breaks. We strung her up in the dark though, she's nice now. Isn't she? How would you rate the experience? Would you rather be on the bows or on the cot?
Like the
Rumsey slept on the cot last night. I was on the bows doing the traditional style.
Nice, like
Rumsey's got a bit of a...
company could be a little better. Company could be a little better. That's the worst thing about this experience.
What company?
You.
The guiding company. We're roughing it out here. This is not glamping. I didn't know you wanted to go glamping.
The company, though. It's the only thing you work a change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor attitude.
Well, boy, you didn't have to cut no firewood.
No, boss. That's all my long.
I'd say you barely whittled a toothpick.
Yeah, but they swear.
What? Did you swear it in? No. Yeah. We had a bit of a sleep in, so now we're gonna take off and go. Barrens behind us. There's a ridge right behind camp. I was in it in the last video I put up on the channel. That's where I seen those caribou. So we're gonna go for a peek.
Have a look.
See what we can find, boys.
Oh, this is, man, all I need to do is just like keep it on you. We were shooting the caribou.
When we shoot the caribou.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't given me the green light yet, so I don't know.
No, I'm taking.
I'd say the caribou's pretty
I'm
safe.
shooting the caribou.
I'd say caribou's pretty safe. It's still playing. This is all recording. I never pressed any buttons. Or,
Shine it off.
just had all that first. Yeah, we're heading around on the road.
Got it. Is it rolling?
Yep.
Red light going.
Yes, man.
Come on, we go.
Going the whole time. Look, boy,
on, cameraman, boy.
Newfoundland Explorer, look.
You can't walk and run the camera or what?
What do you think? This is a bit big for a GoPro, like on my head. Up on that knob, to the left of that, like, see the dark spot?
What, beyond the clearing there?
Like up on that, like the ridge,
Yeah.
just to the left and dark, pretty nutty.
What do you think of moose, are
It's
you?
awfully big moose, there's most stuff.
No, I can't really.
Darker. Boy, that's a big bark.
Good spot for moose, isn't it?
I'll say it's full of geese in summer now, huh?
Yeah, guaranteed. I heard him honking here last time.
Job for ducks pitching it, though.
What's that?
Job for ducks pitching it there now.
Yeah, there's no ducks pitching there. She's roll solid. Yeah, we'll head on up to that ridge, I suppose, then. Have a peek. That's a nice trail there, though. Right there. That's a path, bye. No fresh tracks on it, though. For this hunt, we're traveling the old way, self-propelled by canoe and foot. This was something I wanted to do not just for the added challenge, but also the experience of taking our time and seeing what the land has to offer. Not being an expert in this territory, we would take day one to get a feel for the woods and where the caribou might be hiding. With the rut now over, most of them will be herding up with others for the winter. Looking out over the country with scope and naked eye, we dreamed of thick white patches of these majestic animals grazing on the lichens they eat. So we're just up here now on this big open marsh. We can see all around us, 360 view, and we're hanging out having a look. So far all we've seen is moose tracks. We need a caribou, so. But it's only day one. We got lots of time. Beautiful country up here. It stretches. It stretches. It's blowing a gale. Probably bad sound now, but that's it. We're in the elements. That's not a bad day here. It's nice to be out for a scout, looking around. See anything or what? Huh? He makes it look easy, doesn't he? He makes it look easy. I'm jealous. Caribou gone that way. Big one.
They're not caribous.
I'd say you went right aimed dead for that patch of woods. What I seen cutting across the high ridge was a lone caribou track. It wasn't much, but of a good size and recent. It gave us a bit of excitement as we walked back to camp that evening. No caribou on day one.
No, not day one.
Caribou is.
Yeah.
It's going to be hanging up in the camp now, hopefully before
I'm
too long.
From moral support though, not really much into the lugging.
Yeah. I expected a bit better, but
yeah. Kids these days, boy.
Danny night though.
Beautiful.
Yeah. The next morning, with the wood stove piping away, we buried a feed before getting back to work.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
Looking can.
What?
Can looking can.
Dandy. What are you doing? Taking a day off or what?
Yeah.
What's your plans?
Well, we're going to need a bit of wood for the night, right?
Okay, yeah. Right. Get on the wood, bud. Get on the wood.
Hopefully have duck for supper tonight.
What are you doing?
I'm killing ducks, hopefully.
No, not killing. What are you doing this evening now?
Harvesting some ducks, Gus.
Put one in the pot. If I get back with that caribou, you better have
But you gotta shoot it more than that camera, I won't have nothing to eat.
Yeah, I don't know. I might just get some good shots and get the caribou next year.
Yeah, you're hungry all winter, what?
Yeah. All right, good luck with the hunting. Huh?
No.
Good luck with the hunt.
Yes, sir, same to you, man.
We'll see you in a bit.
On day 2, I headed further into the country, beyond where we had gone on day 1. Rumsey took to the land that surrounded camp and intermittently made sure the wood supply was good and strong for the evening. Even with 2 men, there was endless work to be done. Along today's trail, there was an early surprise for me and Saku.
Hey!
So me and Saku were just coming up the hill to get onto the ridge where we were yesterday, and there was a coyote or a wolf. It was pretty big size, so it might have been a wolf right in the bushes that we were coming through before we got to this ridge. So that was pretty cool. We were close, 100 yards, that's it, maybe a bit further. So I put Saku on a leash, and I lost sight of him pretty quick. After like 20 seconds he was gone. I don't know which way he went. I think he went around us and kept going on. The wind's at our back now, so I'm surprised that we got as close as we did and that he didn't smell us. I looked ahead, I thought it was a stump, a big white stump. And I said, no, that looks different. Anyways, I zoomed in with the camera to get a peek, and sure enough, we had ourselves a dog. Yeah. Anyways, that was fun. No caribou yet, but a nice wildlife sighting for sure. Looking bigger in size, it's likely that this was in fact a coywolf, a hybrid blend of a wolf and a coyote. To get so close was both a privilege and a hair-raising experience. As for the caribou, it was another day gone without a sighting. Well, so far here on day 2, haven't seen a caribou. The tracks we seen late yesterday evening that were of a caribou, I followed those a little ways, but the wind was in our back, so it wasn't the best of situations, and I think the caribou was long gone. Though it was a good sign. I've been just walking around now up on this ridge, probably covered a few kilometers, and nothing other than that coyote or a wolf or whatever it was. And we seen a few grouse, not grouse, white ptarmigan as well. They flew up, so just got to stay persistent out here and keep looking around. Hard all day today. We just stepped out in the marsh here behind camp. Me and Saku, Rumsey's there coming.
We kicked around the camp the morning and had a feed. Now we're going to venture out into this for this afternoon and see if we can eye down an animal. Not ideal conditions, but we can't stay up in the tent. There's no fun there. Nice day, what? What do you think of it?
Yeah, it's average, really.
Let's go. Go, Zach. In or what? 4 o'clock, no caribou. Day 3 at the hunt here. So you go straight on through there, it's probably about 150 kilometers to the next highway, next community. Hopefully we're not going to walk that far.
Chapter if I would walk that far.
Yeah. Yeah, in the woods though, I'd losing weight and everything. Pants falling off you.
Pants are falling off you.
Right off you. Bit of walk and do that to you. What do you think, Rumsey? If you were a caribou, where would you be hiding to?
Down there next to the tent.
Yeah. Camp straight down there in them woods. Right cozy. But there's a lot of marshes up here though. Everywhere. Majestic. Boy, you haven't looked so good in your life.
Something to say.
Your skin's purifying and everything.
Oh yeah.
Another day is coming to an end. Looks like we'll be going into the tent empty-handed. Some good views though.
Yeah.
Zach, you got a good run in. Didn't you, Zach?
On day 4 the winds blew a gale, and I struck off on another pursuit. Rumsey, as agreed upon before the trip, would move at his own pace of freedom around camp, and be there for me if I needed a hand hauling out the meat.
So me and Zach are just sitting down here now. It's blowing a gale up here. Nothing seems to be on the move. But I'm going to set up here for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. And then I'm going to leave and head back to another area. Doing it here the old way we are, you know, we're walking around. There's no quad handy or no skidoo. No boat. 2 feet and a heartbeat now. That's what we're using. Hey, Zach.
Walking the rough terrain gave a deep burn in the legs that matched the burn in the lungs as I inhaled the stiff wintry breeze. Caribou sign or not, these elements invigorated the body. It made me feel like I could go on and on. As the sun sank to end the day, we turned back and headed for camp. Over the final 2 days, I would explore new areas with beaming optimism. That's some fresh moose droppings right there. Hey sack, probably from last evening or this morning, but that's not what we're looking for. When I was a kid, I climbed trees like it was my day job, but it had been a while and I needed to wipe off the rust. On day 5, wanting to get a good look at new land, I scaled a tall juniper and gazed at the wild splendor around me. I hardly wanted to come down out of it. Later I pulled into a patch of woods to boil a kettle and share a snack with Saku. From here we covered more ground, hoping that a caribou would be around each successive corner or over the next hill. Instead, we seen another prized big game animal of Newfoundland. Okay, it's our last day on the trip, last chance to get a caribou here. I got probably 4 or 5 hours and then I'll get back to camp and me and Rumsey will pack up and get out of here. So hopefully I'll be able to send him a message in a bit and let him know that we got one down, and then he'll come over and give us a hand. But it's a beautiful morning, the best one of the trip so far. Hardly a breath of wind. It's not raining or nothing. Nice and dry. I just paddled probably 3 kilometers across the lake roughly. So I'm going to get up on land and walk over some of the marshes and that, and through the woods. And see what we can find. On the final day, from a different vantage point on the other side of the lake, there was still no sign of caribou. Jared and I had discussed that maybe most of them had migrated further south, and the few tracks we seen were of lone caribou who had fell behind. The land out here is big, and we were just a small speck. What I could walk in a day, a caribou might walk in a few hours. That's the breaks. Regardless, this trip with Rumsey was an experience. We didn't get a caribou, but good times were spent catching up with an old friend in the greatest place on the planet, the woods.
You have someone around to break the scores. Oh yeah. And now there's something, suck.
Nice coming home and supper there a couple of nights.
Wait till you get the bill.
Though empty-handed with meat, we had memories for a lifetime. And my Coywolf sighting, the closest I had ever come, was worth the trip in itself. Life is about drying out the positives, and that was certainly one. I also took my swing at hunting the old way, and much was learned. Me and Jared will be back in the beautiful Newfoundland woods together someday, there's no doubt. Next time, I'll owe him a few cooked suppers. Hey guys, you gotta sit this one out. 3 days later, the last day of the season, I headed further south in Newfoundland to meet up with Mi'kmaq guide Gerald John of Can River Outfitting. Gerald's been guiding for big game and Atlantic salmon for 35 years. We had connected while on a trip last winter and stayed in touch. Now he was nice enough to offer his assistance. My hope was that he could get me on the trail of a caribou, because this was my final chance. We worked our way into the country on his Argo, with our first task being the crossing of a deep brook which gushed with water. That's from all the rain last week, is it? The strong current pushed us downstream and away from the trail on the brook's opposite side. We wound up in a thick bed of alders, which we would have to find a way through. Almost. Some of those sticks are thick, aren't they?
on the way back.
Huh?
We'll get a stick on the way back, push it across. Yeah.
Do a bit of polling, will we? Do a bit of polling, will we?
Yeah. Again, the river.
Yeah. I read that book a while back, actually.
Yeah?
The Gander River Man. Ever read that?
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
Who was, they spoke about Jim John, is it?
Yeah.
Is he relation? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's he to you now?
Oh, he's second, third cousin or something.
Is he?
Yeah. You'll come this time.
Okay. Made her. Good driving out there. Good driving out there.
Yeah.
Beauty morning. She's a dandy.
We're headed into Middle Ridge, deep in Newfoundland's interior. These grounds were hunted, trapped, and traveled on by Gerald's Mi'kmaq ancestors since the 16th and 17th centuries. Like his people before him, Gerald is a naturally skilled guide and woodsman, and a joyful fellow to be around. He knows this country like the back of his hand, and is right at home when he's in it. On the way in, as time ticked by, things were looking bleak. Gerald said that the caribou may be gone too deep, hurrying to get away from the snow on Middle Ridge. But then finally, we came upon some tracks.
What do you think, Gerald? We just seen tracks, what?
I think we're going to be careful in 9 minutes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How many was that?
How many there?
How many we seen in? Probably 3 or 4?
Yeah. I'd like to find a herd, but that's all you can do.
It could be anywhere, huh?
Yeah. There,
Big area.
back there too.
The snow's driving them south.
Yeah.
Further and further we went into the wilderness, but these caribou were moving quick. However, as Gerald pointed out, they would have to stop and feed sooner than later. Now, about 20 kilometers in from the vehicles, high on the top of Middle Ridge, we first seen the lone sentinel, Mount Sylvester, in all its glory. Next, after 7 days of waiting, as the hours of light were dying away, we found what we came for. Originally, I wanted a stag with a big, beautiful set of antlers. But of the 5 caribou that surrounded us, there was none to be seen. Now I had a choice. Pass up on these and keep searching for the big boy. With that decision, I would risk not seeing any more and missing my chance at meat for the winter. The other option was to take a gorgeous doe, one which was of a nice size and sure to be tender meat. And that's what I would do. So from here, we went and set up at a good vantage point. And then the caribou spotted us and began to hustle away.
Huh? Gone down.
Got him.
Yeah. Boy, you didn't think you hit him?
Well, I thought so. I thought it was on there.
She's down on the bog.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Caribou down. Turned perfect, didn't she?
Yeah.
Perfect. Meat for the winter. After tagging and cleaning the caribou, I took the heart and liver, loaded up, and we were on our way home. Rolling out over the bogs and barrens, I reflected on the fine moments spent in the outdoors, on my mission to get this meat to help feed my family for the winter. It was a week to remember, and now I was excited to get home and get the meals ready for the freezer. Thanks to Gerald John and Jared Rumsey for the help. It's camaraderie like this that will keep men and women, young and old, experiencing the beauty of the outdoors together for many years to come. Thanks for watching. We'll catch ya on the next adventure.